within a minute.
Yeah, I mean, it looked as if Uruguay had started the game well, and that's a stray pass. Yamal's on it in a flash. He comes off the line into that central position, and it's a... Do you know what? That really was squeezed in. Merino back in the team today, top goal scorer in qualification for Spain. Nearly scored there, deflected off a Uruguay defender for a corner.
Corner kick on this near side for Spain. It's high to the far post, and the 40-year-old Muslera claims well.
What I was going to say, right at the start, Uruguay, I was really impressed with how well they're pressing. Now, Bielsa, we know, wants to do that, but Spain now getting to a little bit of space.
Rodri now down the right-hand side. He's got support from Merino, who, of course, came back into the Arsenal team right at the end of the Premier League season on the final day at Crystal Palace for the trophy lift after so many weeks out with injury, and they did miss him.
Yeah, and you know, there was an injury where when he went to see the specialist said we've never really seen this injury before, so I think he was quite worried. So for him to come back and play in a World Cup is a dream come true for him.
Spain looking to attack again now on this near side with Pedri, Barcelona player who's got a number of miles on the clock now at the age of only 23, and he sweeps a good ball wide to the far side. A buzz around the stadium in Guadalajara as Lamal gathers and looks to go beyond the challenge of Sanabria, but Sanabria does well. But Spain maintaining possession here. Pedri almost threads it through to his Barcelona teammate Yamal, but the ball was just beyond him. But ominous early signs for Uruguay.
Well, Yamal, I mean, the pace there, Sanabria already knows he's second best in a race. And what he does really well is he stops the ball, and there's nothing worse for a defender when you're stationary and all of a sudden you've got to go through the gears. Rapid pace, that's going to be an issue. They need to stop the ball getting to Yamal, because once he gets it, it's very difficult to stop him in motion.
Now Nunez flicks a long ball forward in field for Uruguay. He was left out for the previous game, but he's back to lead the attack today. A player with very little first-team football behind him in recent times. He was bombed out of the Al Hilal team when they signed Karim Benzema in Saudi Arabia. Hasn't played since February at club level, but he was the leading scorer for Uruguay during World Cup qualification, and he's now been fouled by Aymeric Laporte on the halfway line, and it will be a free kick for Uruguay. 4 minutes played here on TalkSport. Uruguay 0, Spain 0. The conclusion of Group H, still goalless as well between Saudi Arabia and Cape Verde. All 4 teams in this group can still qualify. Argentina are awaiting the group runners-up. The group winners will meet the second team in Argentina's group, Austria or Algeria, and the third place team could meet any one of a whole host of teams should they qualify as part of the top 8. As a long ball forward for Uruguay is straight into the arms of Unai Simon, the Athletic Bilbao goalkeeper.
Looked like a shot, didn't it, from the halfway line? Surely not. Maybe that's a little message to the goalkeeper. You get back on that line, because I'm going to hit long balls when I can.
And Simon winning his 61st cap, consistently picked ahead of Arsenal's David Raya. And it's worked wide to the far side. Llorente under pressure. And then a challenge on Bentancur midway inside the Spanish half, and the free kick has been conceded by Merino, and an opportunity here for Uruguay to load the penalty area wide on the left-hand side.
Yeah, there's no doubt about the challenge. North London rivalry there. Decent area. What would you say, 30 yards out? More of a cross than a free kick. He's going to have to whip this back post.
Maxi Araujo, the Sporting midfielder, who's already scored in both of the games so far. He will play this free kick, whipped in high towards that far post, headed up in the air, and then Simon has come and he's lost it, and it's hammered away. No free kick was given there. I think Unai Simon was looking for one. It was Aymeric Laporte who looped it up in the air, and I think Simon just dropped it.
Yeah, he nearly swallowed it, didn't he? He's gone up for it. He slipped through his hands, ran down his chest, and went to safety. He was very lucky there. not so commanding on that occasion.
Uruguay may have to win this game, but they've never beaten Spain in 10 previous meetings. 5 wins and 5 draws for the European champions. And they have met previously in World Cups. In the final group in 1950, they drew 2-2. Of course, Uruguay beat Brazil in the final game of that group, which many people regard as the final, to lift the trophy for the second and currently final time. And then it was a 0-0 draw in 1990, despite having the likes of Francescoli and Butragueño in the team.
Interesting how they're going man for man in that midfield, and the 2 central defenders for Spain are pretty well the only players who've got who are free for any kind of a pass. Kabasi just sent a really good ball there to Yamal, being cut out. They set a trap for Kabasi there, and he decides just to run with it. He's a decent technician.
Well, he's won a corner kick, Lamal on the far side. We're just watching on the monitor the earlier incident. Well, Simon was looking for the free kick, but he just dropped it.
Yeah, he's had one there.
He was being challenged by Caceres, but by the time Caceres got to him, he'd already spilled the ball.
Well, it's keep your eye on the ball, isn't it? The goalkeeper for Argentina on that, Martinez, is probably the best in the world.
Lamal with the corner, low into the near post. And the final touch was off a Uruguayan. Ozabal was the Spanish player challenging, and it will be another corner kick. And we've seen Uruguay look fallible in situations like this. And they conceded the goal against Saudi Arabia in the opening game from a set piece they didn't deal with. Nunez will mark at the near post, but the crossing is beyond him and headed away by Bentancur. Lamal tries to bring the ball down, but very quickly the Uruguayan midfield gets to him, and it's all the way back towards Unai Simon in a splash of evening sunshine in that penalty area away to our right-hand side, and Spain will try and bring the ball away with Llorente once again. 0-0 with 8.5 minutes played on TalkSport, and it's still goalless as well in the other game currently underway between Cape Verde and Saudi Arabia in Houston. And so Uruguay, as it stands, would be squeezing through with 3 points on goals scored ahead of Cape Verde, but long way to go. And it would be Uruguay-Argentina.
Spain just bossing possession.
Laporte with a long ball forward, but it's
poor, wasn't it? I mean, it's completely nowhere near his target there. I mean, this is the thing that Uruguay, what they do, they're pressing you really high. Bielsa tries to create that mayhem, chaos really. And then when they've got it, Spain, there's not really time and space. But what Uruguay have got to do better is use the ball better when they get it. They can't afford to give it away as they've just done there.
Well, they played it long and high, looking for Darwin Nunez, and he lost out in the air. But even if he flicked it on, there was no other Uruguay player anywhere near him. And that's the problem. They need the likes of Valverde and Bentancur to try and get closer to him.
I think Valverde's trying to, but he's coming from such a deep position in this system. He's trying to get... Valverde is basically sitting on Rodri. He's decided, you're not going to be able to play through there because I'm just going to sit right on you.
Now Laporte, one of 3 Athletic Bilbao players in the starting lineup. Luis de la Fuente, the coach, also has links with that club as well. Swung high by Baena from left to right, high to the far side. Yamal will gather now, and this time Sanabria does well. He was watchful in the challenge, and he wins it cleanly, and Lamar was offside anyway.
He was way better there. Sanabria, instead of sitting off Yamal, you've got to go after him. It's like a nettle. If you don't grasp it, it'll sting you. Sanabria there went and just put his foot in straight away. Don't wait for him. You get in, make the decision. Good tackle.
Only 3 years ago that Lamine Yamal was scoring goals for Spain's under-17 team in the European Championships, and he's done a huge amount since. But there's a miss kick there for Muslera as he looks to clear, and it's quickly controlled by Baena, but Uruguay are strong in the challenge, and Araujo will play it wide to the far side of the left, forward towards Darwin Nunez, but he's offside, and Liverpool fans will be familiar with that.
Exactly. I was just about to say that, Nigel.
Time to time his run. Maybe it could have come a touch sooner, but he had plenty of room in behind.
I'm not a betting man, but I don't know, can you get a bet on a player to run offside more than anybody else in a tournament? I know he hasn't played too many times, but he's up there, isn't he?
Well, that was one that was avoidable, as Llorente brings it forward now from the heart of the Spanish defence up to the edge of the Uruguay penalty area, but he could be caught out of position now because Uruguay try and break over the halfway line with Canobio, but he's been fouled, and it will be a free kick, and it's got some edge in this game, of course.
Canobio wants to run at you, that's for sure. He's done a lot defensively. I haven't seen him much in possession. That was his first real run with the ball.
He's for Fluminense in Brazil, scored in the draw against Cape Verde. And now there is space and time for Araujo to come forward, and he had the opportunity to work it wide, but he went himself. But now Spain have given the ball away, and it's almost worked into the penalty area for Valverde, but in the end the whistle has gone, and it's a free kick for Spain, but Uruguay almost managed to pick the lock there.
Yeah, just trying to work out who this free kick was for.
It's Pedri and Bentancur.
Yeah, it's for Spain, it must be there. Just looking at the fullback there, he just caught in two minds, but Bentancur nearly gets in tries to get the ball back in a 1-2. Spain give it him back.
13 minutes played, very interesting game so far. No goals in Guadalajara, and we've got plenty of football still to come in the early hours of Saturday morning at 4 a.m. here on TalkSport. New Zealand against Belgium with Mike Saul and Natasha Dowie, and over on TalkSport 2, Egypt against Iran, as Araujo comes forward now for Uruguay, but he's challenged on the edge of the penalty area, goes down looking for the free kick and doesn't get it, but now Rodri has lost out to Ugarte. Araujo once again, and Uruguay beginning to play here. Valverde wide towards Darwin Nunez. For a moment he was in behind Llorente, now he's got time to play it back, but Sanabria with a poor ball in field, but then he comes back to win it, and that's the sort of chaos theory which is a hallmark of Bielsa teams. But Lamine Yamal wins it back here on the edge of the centre circle. He wants a free kick. He claims he was pulled back by Oliveira, but the referee trying to allow the game to flow.
Yeah, but Uruguay, to be honest, it's just what they want. They want these duels. They want these scraps all over the pitch. When it gets to Yamal, though, they don't seem to be able to stop him. He's the one player with that little bit of extra pace. Uruguay goalkeeper, by the way, is going down the middle every time he gets here. He's hitting a straight ball. This time Spain dealt with it, but the first time, no.
Spain have never lost when Lamine Yamal has started a game for them. 16 wins and 6 draws, and if they don't lose this game today, they will win the group, and Uruguay could find themselves in trouble. Spain come forward now with Rodri 25 yards out, sweeps it wide to the right hand side, and Lamine Yamal. Sanabria shows him the outside. The cross is whipped in towards that near post, but it's hammered away by Caceres. But it will be a corner kick for Spain down their right, and we can see some Uruguayan anxiety whenever Spain get the ball in this sort of area.
Caceres there, to me that's a sloppy clearance. That's going to, I'm putting that in the stand with the left foot. He's gone with the outside of his right and he's just swerved off him for a corner. If this goes in, he won't be pleased. They're not great for defending corners here, Uruguay.
Baena with an outswinger high to the far post. Rodri challenging for it, but again it's cleared away by Ugarte, and Araujo battling away with Cucurella, who wants a free kick for handball, but nothing given, and it swept forward. It almost found Darwin Nunez, who may have been in there, but it was recovered well by Pau Kabasi, who was retreating from the original corner, and the Barcelona teenager did well to break down that Uruguayan counter-attack. Now Pedri at the heart of the Spanish midfield.
He's gone a bit deeper, hasn't he, Pedri, to try and get on the ball. They're trying to get that +1 in midfield, which is difficult. Quite a battle in there.
Pedri, one of a number of players in this World Cup, coming off the back of an injury-hit season. Of course, he was injured for the Euro 2024 final against England as well, as Lamar gathers now down the right-hand side, cuts into the penalty area and hits it. It almost deflects into the path of Oyarzabal, but it's hammered to safety by Uruguay again.
Yeah, Uruguay getting everybody back behind the ball.
Cucurella.
Interesting, Cucurella, he's playing so high, isn't he, for the Spanish team. I think he doesn't really go inverted, he just goes high and wide.
Of course, there wasn't a single Real Madrid player picked in the original squad, but Cucurella will be playing for them next season. Cucurella now coming in field with Alex Baena providing the width down the left-hand side. And Uruguay are very, very deep. Spain have the ball inside their half here, and they pulled everybody back, trying to set the Spanish the challenge of breaking them down. Rodri.
We've not seen much of Baena. He's playing on the left wing. I've seen a lot of Yamal. He's on the ball again now.
Yamal in the sunshine on the far side, and Ugarte with the challenge on Marino, but again the referee allows play to continue. Spain with nearly 60% of the possession so far. But Uruguay will not be too concerned about that. They've got a very tight forward three of Bentancur and Valverde supporting Nunez, and now they all come back in unison to try and help their defence, as Baena does gather now down the left-hand side, but the challenge comes in.
Just a comment on Spain. I don't think there are any kids listening to this, but everything is side of the foot. One touch, two touch. They never put their laces through it. If you put your laces through it, you run the risk of giving it away. So it's just like, just keep shoving it to each player, but it's on the carpet. Never a bobbly ball, but all done with good technique.
Pedri on towards Baena, and now Oyarzabal inside the penalty area, but it's defended well at the near post. It was Oliveira who came across and read that well.
Yeah, he did. He needed to, Oliveira, because that was just that passing at its best, just from one player to another. Just didn't have the pace, the Spanish centre forward.
19 minutes played. Uruguay 0, Spain 0 in Group H at the 2026 World Cup on TalkSport. And Spain with another corner kick on this near side, and they are on top at the moment. As you may anticipate, it was Pedri causing the problems, and Baena will try to swing this corner in with the left foot once again. Uruguay again are looking to get very tight inside the area, and our American referee is having words with Canobio.
He said to him, that's three times I'd like to speak to you. I think they're a bit harsh on him, to be honest.
Baena with the in-swinging corner. Muslera almost fisted it onto the head of a Spanish defender at the far post, Kabasi, and he was lucky. That could have gone anywhere. In fact, it was onto the head. It was Kabasi, and he almost gave Kabasi an open goal to finish.
No, both goalkeepers not looking great from crosses.
Now Lamine Yamal on the edge of the penalty area. Sanabria with a good challenge, but now Yamal has it again now. Looking ahead to the byline, pulls it back. Ugarte managing to cut it out, and Sanabria will play it forward towards Nunez. Nunez, though, under pressure, managing to divert it back towards Ugarte. 20 minutes played on TalkSport. Uruguay 0, Spain 0. As Cucurella will chase here, and he clashes with Canobio, and it seemed that Canobio used his arm there to make contact with the back of Cucurella's head. Cucurella went down. The referee has waved away any appeals, and in fact hasn't given a free kick.
Do you know what's happened there? Cucurella's ran across his path. Canobio's just going, do you know what? I'm just going to body check you, and I'm going to smash you to the ground, and that's what he's done. Cucurella now he's just spitting grass out of his mouth there.
Well, There's a look towards the Uruguayan bench from Cucurella, but no more than that.
He's not getting any sympathy.
No, certainly not.
He does love a bit of contact, though, doesn't he?
Bielsa unmoved, perched on the edge of the Uruguayan drinks box, which is the modern-day equivalent of the bucket, as Caceres plays it forward now for Uruguay from the left-back area. Again, it's a high ball looking for Nunez, and Nunez turns around and says, come on, give me a chance.
Yeah, and do you know what? I think it's because they're not getting any time and space, so when they do, they're rushing in service into the front half. I'm just looking at Bentancur. There's been a couple of times when, you know, if I'm the second half, could you come and get it off me? Where's that rescue plan? You know, the sort of SOS pass when you're in trouble. Okay, Bernardo Silva was that player for City, but Bentancur really doesn't want to take it. He's okay having a go at his teammates, but he doesn't really want to receive the ball at times.
Now Pedri inside the penalty area, nearly fed it through to Oyarzabal, but Canobio will try and bring it clear. Nearly runs into Cucurella again, but then thought better of it. But Spain have it in the centre circle with Kubasi. Wide to the blonde-haired Llorente, approaching the midway point of the first half here on TalkSport. Uruguay 0, Spain 0. Spain with a free kick as Moreno has been caught by Ugarte. Nothing given, but Spain come forward. A lovely dummy from Lamar, and the crossing from Llorente, and it nearly breaks for Oyarzabal inside the area. He had support from Moreno, but it was swooped on by Muslera.
Wasn't that a bit of beauty that Yamal has got eyes in the back of his head, because we all thought he was going to put his foot on it. Let's see it run for Llorente. Not the greatest of crosses, but the goalkeeper acts really quickly there, just comes and deals with it.
Well, you can hear the boos. That means it's the hydration break in Guadalajara. 23 minutes played. World Cup Game Day live on TalkSport. Uruguay 0, Spain 0. No goals in either game so far tonight. Cape Verde and Saudi Arabia are also goalless in their game in Houston. But at the moment, Cape Verde have moved into the top 8 third-place finishers. Scotland are down to 10th as it stands. They need a number of snookers to remain at the World Cup over the next couple of days. But in this group, at the moment, Spain are on top with 5 points, Uruguay with 3 points, and they are ahead of Cape Verde on goals scored. And Cape Verde are third, Saudi Arabia bottom of the group with 2 points. But of course, a goal here, a goal there could change everything.
Just interesting. I'm sorry, Nigel. I'm just watching the players. This is a great opportunity for us to look at the manager. This rehydration period where we can just have a look and see stitching in information. Interesting that Pedri had gone straight to Yamal to say, we need this ball moved quicker. You can see, and both players, obviously, you know, play for Barcelona. They move the ball quickly, and they're not happy at the moment the way the ball's been moved. So maybe we'll see a change for the second half of this first half. You know, it's an interesting question whether the players get asked it. I don't know. Do they like this stopping for drinks? Because, like, no one seems to really protest. It's an opportunity. I bet the coaches like it. You know, particularly a coach who likes the sound of his own voice. But, you know, there are times when you like to get into the players to make that improvement. Spain need a little bit of help here.
You can hear that match between Cape Verde and Saudi Arabia currently live over on TalkSport 2 with Kevin Hatchard and Alvin Martin. Good night or good morning to download the TalkSport app, and you can swipe between the live games, and that will be the case at 4 a.m. as well. New Zealand against Belgium here on TalkSport, and Egypt against Iran will be on TalkSport 2, and that's a fascinating group as well. Belgium looking to dig themselves out of a hole. They're currently behind Iran on goals scored. Egypt are top of that group. They're the only team to have won so far in that group. New Zealand have 1 point, but rather like this group, all 4 teams can still qualify. And then, of course, 8 o'clock start for the build-up live from the stadium tomorrow. Panama against England. Adrian Durham, Jim Proudfoot and Stuart Pearce leading our team. Croatia against Ghana will be live on TalkSport 2. Both the games get underway at 10 o'clock. We'll be building up all day across the TalkSport network. And then in the early hours of tomorrow morning, Another good game. Colombia against Portugal. That's live on TalkSport 2. DR Congo against Uzbekistan will be live on the TalkSport app. And we're back underway. 26 minutes played. The group stage will conclude 3 a.m. Sunday morning with the end of the Argentina group. And in many ways, the key game in that group is Algeria against Austria. Both teams could finish in second place. And whoever finishes second in that group will face the group winner here as Valverde robs Rodri now, slips the ball into the penalty area. Darwin Núñez allows it to run, but there was nobody behind him.
No, Valverde, as we said, you know, he's sitting, isn't he, on Rodri, and Rodri was asleep there after the drinks break. You know, that's the thing, isn't it? You lose that momentum. He's a player who's not been available for City all season. Is he really fit? He get caught there.
But now Yamal plays it quickly forward, looking for Oyarzabal. It will break on this near side to Baena on the Spanish left. He will try and take on Caceres, and the cross into the near post, but it's gathered by the veteran Muslera.
Caceres does really well there. He's got pace, and he needed it.
Uruguay without a single shot in the game so far. Spain have had 2, and they've both been off target. And again, it's another long ball forward from Muslera, but this time Núñez manages to direct it towards Araujo, the Sporting attacking midfielder who had a very good season in the Champions League. But they need a spark here, Uruguay, because they're second best, but I don't think Bielsa will be too unhappy with the way they're playing.
No, because obviously there's a bit of chaos that they're causing. They're a little bit loose with their passing, where they keep giving it away. Look, and it goes into the front player. I'm not sure about this guy, Canobio.
Well, here is Darwin Núñez. He's away down the right-hand side. Injection of pace. He swings in the cross, looking for Canobio, but it's into the arms of Unai Simon.
Well, Canobio gets lucky there in the build-up. Núñez is what he is a willing runner and wants to run into the channels. He gets in, wins it well, but it's his end product. You know, you want him just to, I don't know, everything he does is just like done at such speed. If he just came down a little bit from 100% to slow down and think a bit. That one's far too near to the goalkeeper, that cross.
5 goals for him in World Cup qualification. Uruguay had a very strange campaign. Won 3 of their first 4, including a victory away to Argentina, which ended their 25-match unbeaten run, but then only 3 wins in their last 12 games. And that was when things started to unravel. Luis Suarez had his say about Bielsa, and Bielsa admitted after a 5-1 defeat against the USA in the build-up that the situation was toxic and he was to blame, although that's typical of him to try and shoulder the responsibility and protect his players. But this is the World Cup. If you're looking at the players, then maybe they've got to look within themselves as well. Now Pedri tries to backheel it down the line for Baena on this near side. Baena applauds the intention, but it just slips out of play, and it will be a throw-in for Uruguay. You know,
we're sort of half an hour in now, and you look at Spain, you think, well, how often have they gone into their centre forward? Oyarzabal. It's very rare that he seems to feature within the play. Okay, he might prove me wrong and score in a minute.
Bentancur now with a low ball into the area, but the only player waiting was Araujo, and he was unable to get the touch, and it's gone behind, and a goal kick has been given. But again, Spain finding some joy down this near side, the right.
Yeah, again, good run down the right-hand side. Araujo is a player who's already scored in this competition, looks the most likely Uruguay player to get on the end of things. Just not able to there, just too much on the cross. They don't look fantastic at the back though, Spain. Look a little bit vulnerable, a little bit sloppy at times.
Well, they're yet to concede. They weren't under a huge amount of pressure against either Cape Verde or Saudi Arabia defensively. They're looking to be the first team to go through the group without conceding since Uruguay back in 2018. Marino with a back heel. It breaks for Bentancur, and Uruguay will try and break over the halfway line. Bentancur wide to Canobio on the right-hand side. He comes in field. He's been caught by Baena, and this time the referee does give a free kick to Uruguay.
Canobio, but much better there, much more controlled. He swept inside and then he's been brought down. Cheap free kick. Nice passage of play there from Uruguay. I think when you're running around in a frantic manner, it is quite difficult to press that button to go into passing mode. And that's the thing, that's the chaos that he wants to cause, but sometimes he can bring it to his own team. Bielsa.
Well, there's no doubt Leeds were at their best when there was that air of chaos, but they didn't really have that lower gear.
No, you've got to press another button. It's like, one half of your body's going to be aggressive, the rest is like, it's nice and supple and happy to have the ball.
It's been lost again by Unai Simon, and now an opportunity for Canobio. The shot deflected, and it's hacked away by Laporte, but Uruguay still pressing here. Another high ball into the area, and again Unai Simon failed to gather, but at the other end, Spain breaking forward here with Oyarzabal, but a good challenge on the far side, and Uruguay will come forward, but in turn they've given the ball away cheaply. Here is Rodri, square to Cucurella. Well, we can see what the game plan is now. Just get those crosses high into the Spanish penalty area, because he can't catch a cold.
Yeah, I mean, the thing is, we haven't seen this in his game before, but it's there tonight.
13 minutes to play in the first half. 0-0 on TalkSport 2 in Guadalajara. Uruguay against Spain in Group H. Spain on top of the group at the moment. No goals in either of the games, with Saudi Arabia against Cape Verde on TalkSport 2. Baena with a low cross into the area, nearly found Oyarzabal, who was just unable to flick the ball on, and it's claimed by Muslera.
Baena playing on the left wing, right-footed player, steps inside and whips it across that goal, and they're close to getting a touch on it. It's very end-to-end stuff here. Neither team really controlling things.
Of course, it's not a derby because it's Europe against South America, but it's being played like a local derby at the moment.
Well, Yamal's not getting on the ball, so he's gone on walkabout. He's come right into the middle of the pitch to get some joy. I think he needs to stay wide and keep that discipline.
Now, Aymeric Laporte, who had his spell in Saudi Arabia with Al Nassr, but chose to return to Europe and his boyhood club, Athletic Bilbao. Lamine Yamal now twisting and turning, spins away from the first challenge and then tries another pirouette, but he couldn't beat Valverde, and it's cleared by Ugarte.
He's like a freestyle dancer in a competition, isn't he, Yamal? It's just ridiculous how he just goes past people like they're not there.
Now Rodri, and Pedri again looking to twist and turn. You think of the time he's had out with injuries, and he's still managed to amass a large amount of appearances for both club and country at the age of 23. This is his 44th appearance today. Now Cucurella back towards Laporte, who once again can join in with the midfield. And it's back to Kabasi and Pedri, and it's short from Lamal. It was won back briefly by Bentancur, but now Araujo will bring it forward, fighting Darwin Nunez, and Uruguay will try and build a counter-attack on the halfway line, but Nunez just slowing it down and then playing it wide to Sanabria, and it's infield to Araujo.
This is when they need to enjoy having the ball, Uruguay. They get behind the ball, they win it back, and then too many times it's going from one team to another. Just keep the ball. They're doing that. They're just taking the sting right out of it.
Oliveira. First time in the game, really, that Ugarte has been able to drop in as almost that third central defender and dictate the play. And now he finds Araujo, and he spins away from the challenge of Llorente. Comes in field, and Bentancur 30 yards out. Right foot shot from him, not too far over the top from Rodrigo Bentancur.
Araujo looks a real player, real talent, takes two people out of the game, knocks it to Bentancur. He hits it from, what is he, 35 yards out. It's just a rising shot. But they're looking more composed now, Uruguay. They're
That's their first shot in the game.
Growing in confidence, Nigel.
Well, they've seen what Spain have got in this game, and they've gradually got to grips with it. They've put the block on Lamal on the Spanish right. Baena's not providing too much on the left, and as a result, Oyarzábal's not seeing any of the ball.
No, and if you can deal with Yamal, and he does come in and out of matches, and you can't keep forcing the ball to him, then you look as if you're fairly comfortable.
Well, Bielsa very animated at the moment, talking to Varela on this near side as he takes a throw in, looking for Nunez, and Bentancur almost sends Baena into the arms of De La Fuente, the Spanish coach. Spain go long, and then it's hammered away by Oliveira, rather slashed at it, but it bounces towards Araújo, and because that ball rather died and stopped on the turf, Llorente came over the top of Araújo and fouled him on the halfway line, and Uruguay get the free kick.
Yeah, but Llorente, he's worried about him, and he's over physical. He's got his arms out all over his opponent.
Really interesting game, this one.
Just on Canobio, it's very interesting. The ball's just hit somebody in the face, by the way, in the crowd. Cucurella, he's basically saying, do you know what, I'm going to be in your face the whole time. He's been so aggressive on Cucurella. There could be something that, you know what it's like with Cucurella, you can't go near him. There could be a flashpoint there, so I'd be cautious if I was him.
Well, there have been a couple of potential ones already in this game. 37 minutes played, 0-0 in Guadalajara, as Marino is able to take a long ball down on the chest infield towards Pedri, but his crossfield ball has been blocked by Ugarte, and now Araújo again on this near side, but he's challenged by Pedri, and it will be a Uruguay throw-in on this near side. At the moment, Spain are going through to face the runners-up of Group J, and Uruguay would play Argentina in the round of 32, and it's 0-0 in the other game, and that would be enough for Cape Verde in their first World Cup to take one of the best third places. Scotland are currently dropping down to 10th in that table, so barring some improbable results over the next couple of days, they can start packing their bags. Now Nunez, well, he went for goal from inside his own half, and it was a dribbling shot all the way through to Unai Simon.
Well, Nunez has done it this time, but that's the second time the Uruguay players try to hit a long shot from distance, and each time it's been made to look stupid, but obviously it's in their mind.
Well, Spain wanted a free kick. Ugarte challenging Oyarzábal, and there was force in the challenge, but he did win the ball.
Well, yeah, but he's gone through his opponent now. Oyarzábal there will know about that. Rodri's having a word with the ref. Ugarte's leaving a bit on a few. Marino as well. Just a few moments ago. I think with Bielsa, contact is a given, isn't it? You've got to get, never mind running around, leave a bit on these players. Very physical match right now.
And we're just watching on the monitor an opportunity for Spain, or rather Uruguay, and it was when Bentancur hit that shot over the top. But twice now we've seen Unai Simon try and deal with crosses, and on both occasions he's dropped them.
Yeah, and you're not used to seeing that, so it would be, I mean, Bielsa's big on the tactics. We're just looking at Bielsa, he's screaming at his players, by the way. He doesn't look happy.
Well, 5 minutes to play in the first half. Oyarzábal is having to come across to this near side before he can return. He's having words with Juan Calderon, the fourth official from Costa Rica.
It's as if he doesn't know that he's got to go off the pitch for 60 seconds. Maybe know what he's told him.
Well, it's in the laws of the game now, of course. 4.5 minutes to play in the first half here on TalkSport. Uruguay 0, Spain 0. Don't forget, England against Panama, 10 o'clock tomorrow night on TalkSport. We'll be building up all day from breakfast at 6 o'clock later this morning on TalkSport and elsewhere on the TalkSport network. Uruguay have a player down now on halfway, but Spain play on. Pedri works it wide to the right-hand side and Lamal. Sanabria, though, makes the challenge, and Lamal goes down, nothing given. Llorente picks his way through the bodies, delivers a cross in from the right. Baena with a shot on the turn. Oh, Muslera's fumbled it. A terrible mistake by the veteran goalkeeper to gift Alex Baena the lead for Spain. Baena with a shot on the turn, and Muslera allowed it to slither away from him, and it just about crept over the line. The 40-year-old looks distraught, and if that's the goal that sends Uruguay out of the World Cup, what an absolute shambles. Uruguay 0, Spain 1.
Well, first of all, let's talk about the finish. Baena, I mean, it was a fantastic turn, and the way that they get in, they finally work it, don't they? Yamal, again, I mean, I think Yamal actually goes down to the ground, and you think there's going to be a free kick, and the ball comes in then, comes back into the edge of the box, and he gets on it really quickly. But that's going to be a bread and butter save for a keeper with that kind of experience. I mean, it's a really poor, it bounces just in front of him, he goes down early. Muslera is made to look schoolboy with that save. It's a shocking mistake from a keeper with such experience.
First shot on target in the game. Alex Baena of Athletic Bilbao scoring his third international goal, one of the team who won the Olympic gold for Spain in Paris 2 years ago. But Muslera, who made that mistake to gift Cape Verde their equaliser in the previous game, and that's a horrible one for him there. And Spain scoring with 10 players. Oyarzabal was still off the field, and you wonder whether he would have been stood there rather than Baena had he been allowed to come back on.
Well, Baena was obviously trying to get into a central position because his striker was off the pitch, and maybe that's a little bit of a problem for Spain. They don't look into that area enough. But you know what? It definitely seems to hit something and fire up out of the ground a little bit. I'm not trying to defend the goalkeeper, but they do go out 2 hours before kickoff. So if they've not inadvertently seen every available bounce that they're going to see, then there's no excuse for that kind of mistake.
And Uruguay have a player down, and it's Oliveira. I think he was caught by Ugarte, his teammate, possibly. In the build-up to that goal, Pedri was also involved. Oliveira stretched to try and challenge Pedri, and maybe caught his studs in the turf, and I think he's about to be stretched off. So he was on the ground injured, and Oyarzabal was off the field waiting to come back on in the build-up to that goal, and as a result of that, play is yet to continue, and Oliveira has his shirt up over his head as he's carried off, and that's a sad sight to see.
Well, it's a double blow, isn't it? And I don't think they'll go back to look at it, because it's his own player. I think he's twisted his ankle. I mean, unless he's going to just fly out of that stretcher in a moment, you don't think he's going to play any part further in this game.
He looks to be in some pain, and they're going to make a change straight away. So Uruguay really unraveling here. Nicolas de la Cruz of Flamengo will come on. Scored in the qualifiers against Brazil. Very experienced player. He's also won titles with River Plate in Argentina. And de la Cruz comes onto the field, so there may be a defensive reshuffle as well. And we had a delay there of around 3 minutes following the goal for the injury. But Spain lead by a goal to nil, and we will have a minimum of 8 more minutes at the end of this first half. And Uruguay have got to score, because at the moment Cape Verde are going through to play Argentina. Spain on top with 7 points. Cape Verde still 0-0 with Saudi Arabia. They're on 3 points. Uruguay have 2 points, but that wouldn't be enough to send them through. And Saudi Arabia also have 2 points. But now both Cape Verde and Saudi Arabia know if they take the lead, they're going to be second. Well,
of course, and you can't afford to give anything away. That goal really was down to the goalkeeper. You know, the Uruguayan goalkeeper will know, hand on heart, he should have done a whole lot better.
Nunez beaten to it now on the edge of the Spanish penalty area. Oyarzabal, but it's quickly won back by Caceres, and now work forward on the far side.
There's been mistakes actually, and it's very costly. The game against Cape Verde, they made a mistake in that one. I think the central defender gave the ball away needlessly for the equaliser there. So it's the pressure that they find themselves under.
And it was Ugarte actually who was carried off, I should say. It wasn't Oliveira. So the Manchester United player carried off on the stroke of half-time. I just realised Oliveira is still out there, and that will be a concern for United, with Ugarte, who had his injury problems during the season, picking up one here in the World Cup.
Yeah, but it's a big loss in that midfield because he sits deep, he comes and receives the ball, the central defenders split and he goes in between them. So he's key to their structure.
Now Rodri. We played 2 of the 8 minutes at the end of the first half here. Spain leading Uruguay by 1-0, yet to concede a goal at this World Cup. Oyarzabal, though, almost body checked by the referee. He's not too happy about that, but Uruguay will try and break. Araújo down the left-hand side, further on towards Sanabria. First time cross in, looking for Nunez, but cleared away well by Kubasi. And now Llorente. Infield towards Rodri again, and Llorente rather hemmed in by Sanabria, and as a result his clearance finds Valverde, but all he can do is cushion it out of play, and it will be a throw-in here for Spain. Yeah,
Valverde there, because he's running to close down, he can't control the ball, puts it out of play.
So at the moment, Uruguay third in the group, and they would not be one of the third-place teams going through. Algeria are currently into that picture. Of course, they've still got a game to play. They've got Austria coming up tomorrow. And we thought at the start of the week that Scotland would be okay, but events have conspired against them. Some unlikely results in many ways, but they've all been hammer blows for the Tartan Army. It was a big call from Bielsa to get Fernando Muslera out of retirement after 4 years away, and he's made 3 big errors leading to goals in this World Cup. Now Baena coming forward again now. Oyarzabal inside the area, but he's forced wide on the far side by Oliveira, and it's gone behind for a goal kick. And Muslera will need to regroup, and I'm sure you played in games where goalkeepers make errors, and how much does it suck the life out of the back four?
Well, it can, but you have to put it to one side, because you know it doesn't come down to one player. You're obviously hoping everybody, you know, the biggest problem you've got is the lack of confidence from the goalkeeper now carrying on. So you've got to get in his corner and say, come on, put it to one side, let's go on and win this match. But there's nothing between the two teams, and when Spain now find themselves in front, and the way that they keep the ball, it's difficult to see how Uruguay are going to get back into it.
De La Cruz, the player who came on for Ugarte, he's challenged by Rodri, and in the end Bentancur is penalised for catching Pedri, and it will be a free kick for Spain. 5 minutes into the 8 added at the end of the first half here. Uruguay 0, Spain 1. Uruguay going out of the World Cup in the group stage for the second successive time after Ghana shocked them in their final game when they were going through in Luis Suarez's final World Cup match 4 years ago in Qatar. And the mistake from Fernando Muslera on a stage where there is no hiding place, as Kubasi in the right back area plays it down the line but straight out of play. And
so they're doing that well, Uruguay. Spain can't really play out, and you can't think of too many teams that are better than Spain. So Uruguay are pressing to a high level. It's when they get the ball, having the composure then to create enough to score goals.
There's a problem with the ball here. The referee not happy with the one that was being used, so
yeah, that can happen. There's sometimes the pressure of these balls. It always used to cease to amaze me when I played at this level the referees. Sometimes referees have a different pressure that they're accepting, and you go out to play and nobody likes it. So players just said, no, there's something wrong with the ball. Not enough pressure in it.
Well, Uruguay certainly under pressure here, but they've won a free kick. Araujo fouled by Marino on the left-hand side, and he'll swing this high into the area. Araujo's delivery, Unai Simon stays at home, and Laporte will head the ball away on this near side, and it will be a throw-in for Uruguay.
Uncontested header there from Laporte.
Varela will take the throw-in. Bentancur has got no room at all on this near side. Wants a free kick as he's challenged by Baena, but nothing given, and Rodri exchanging passes on this near side with Laporte, his former Manchester City teammate, and then Rodri, with all the time in the world, goes back to Unai Simon, who chips it into the midfield, but Pedri's been robbed by Bentancur. Araujo on the edge of the penalty area, heavy touch from him. Valverde inside towards Bentancur, and now a low ball in, looking for Darwin Nunez, but he was challenged inside the area by Laporte as he tried to hit it, and it looped up into the arms of Unai Simon.
Well, and Simon breathes a sigh of relief, because it was his ball that was actually caused all this problem, and in the end he makes a acrobatic save. Nunez, I think it comes off the defender in the end, who does brilliantly to get in the way of him. I think it's Laporte.
Possibility that Nunez may have been offside anyway.
Yeah,
but
I think so. I think you're right there.
And we've got 20 seconds or so before half-time. And a big 15 minutes coming up for Marcelo Bielsa to try and prolong his time in charge as Uruguay coach. He's off at the end of the World Cup, which could be very soon. Oyarzabal tries a shot now from 30 yards out, but it's wide of Muslera's far post. And that is half-time. Spain in control thanks to a goalkeeping error. Fernando Muslera fumbling in the shot from Alex Baena.